Now, there's no doubt that this is an amazing feat of engineering, and it was invented to bridge the woodwind with the brass section. Now, because of its complexity, we can expect the occasional mechanical issue. But it's not always the case that we need to take it to an instrument repairer. There are a handful of issues that we can fix ourselves. And this video, I'm going to teach you the 5 main issues and the DIY fixes. Now stick around to the end, because I've also posted a little piece for you to practice with your newly repaired instrument. I'll put the PDFs and the backing tracks in the description below as well. So here's fix number 1. Let's tackle the octave mechanism first. If you're experiencing that the lower register notes are not playing as well as they normally would, or that they're jumping into the upper register, it could be that the octave mechanism needs some adjustment. Now this is the octave mechanism here, and you can see it's lifted by that little spigot when we press the octave key. If the spigot is touching that mechanism when you're not pressing the octave key in any way, that's going to cause you some issues and will need adjusting. And a way to adjust this is to hold the mechanism open like this, and then just simply press down here to bend the mechanism a little bit until you have a 1mm gap between the spigot and the mechanism. You certainly don't want a wide gap there, as that will cause other issues. Once you've got that 1mm gap, the octave mechanism should work correctly and solve those issues. Now here's a common problem. Sticky pad, you may have come across this already, and the main offender is the G sharp key, the 3A, that's this one here. When I press this, it lifts this pad here. Well, it doesn't actually lift it. It takes this rod, which is holding the pad down, removes it, and a spring lifts up this G sharp key. So what can happen is the pad becomes a bit sticky. You press the key, the G sharp key, and the pad doesn't open because the spring isn't strong enough to unstick the pad. Now the best way to clean this is take a piece of paper like this, and notice it's slightly tapered. Open the G sharp key, insert the paper all the way in, and then holding down the pad with my finger gently, pull the paper out. Do that a couple of times and that should sort out the stickiness. However, if this isn't sorting the stickiness, you may need to get some lighter fuel. Put the lighter fuel on the paper, open the key, top it in, hold down the pad and pull it out gently, and the lighter fuel will help ungunk the pad and just evaporate naturally. The second pad to suffer from this sticky problem is the low C sharp, that's 8C in Presto. When I press the C key, it lifts the mechanism and allows the C sharp pad to open. This is the E flat pad that sometimes sticks. And that's because this one is closed and it's down at the bottom of the saxophone where a lot of the gunk can collect, so it can pick up some of the stuff going down, and then if it's not been used for a while, once it dries, it can make like a glue. Number 3 can be a bit tricky. The sax has many springs in the form of these needle-like things you can see here, and occasionally one of these unhooks and causes all sorts of issues. And for this one, it's really easy. We just take our finger and we can rehook it behind the holder there. However, you may be able to see this one underneath this ring. That, if that unhooked, would be a lot more difficult to replace. And the best thing for this is a spring hook. Now you can buy these, but I've been lucky enough to have an instrument repairer make me one, and that makes the job a whole lot easier. Okay, to fix number 4, there are several different types of screws we find on the saxophone, and the first one we're going to deal with is this one here. It's a long screw, goes through that sleeve, and they make their way out over time. And just keep your eye out for these, and all you need is a small screwdriver, pop it in the slot, and tighten up the screw, and that'll sort the problem out. The second type of screw that can work its way out is this type here. It's a shorter screw with a pointed end, and it holds the key mechanism in place. And once again, just need to take a screwdriver and tighten it down. Not too tight, just finger tight, and that should solve the problem. Another type of screw that we find on the sax are these guard screws. Some pads and keys have guards to protect them, and sometimes the screws will come loose. So to the final fix, and this is a borderline repairer's job. If you know about and use the long B flat fingering, that's the first finger in the left hand and the first finger in your right hand. If when you play this it doesn't sound quite right, it could mean that this screw here needs to be adjusted. There's a little lever here with a piece of cork, sometimes rubber, and that just sits on top of the G sharp key. And if that's not in the right place, that can cause some issues. So if you hold down the first finger with your right hand and then press down the 3A key, the G sharp key, if there's any movement at this point, at this pad, then you will need to just gently tighten this. But be careful you don't go too far, because you can cause other issues as well. If you've got a friendly repairer, he might check that out for you anyway. But that's something you could just check. If the G sharp pad is lifting when the fourth key down is pressed, you could have an issue. Hope you got something out of this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe, leave me a comment. Anyway, now here's a song for you to try on your newly fixed saxophone. Don't forget to download the track and the PDF in the description. I'll see you next time.